Um, what I want to talk about on today's broadcast is in a world full of connection, why are we so afraid to get close? And what I've come to understand is that a lot of young people, and I would guess I could say people in general, feel a sense of alienation. It isn't just emotional, right? It isn't just something that people feel on an individual basis. At this point, it seems structural, right? We're raised to compete, not connect, told to be independent, but not to be interdependent. We're put into these programs and school systems where we're taught to chase careers, in modern times, followers, aesthetics. But the genuine, real intimacy of human connection, most people don't get to experience in the modern world. And actually, guys, is terrifying to a degree, especially in a world that rewards detachment. You know, the more that you clock into a job, you spend years working a job or working a career, and it doesn't matter how important a career is, you will be rewarded for the hours that you spend away from community, away from your family, away from your true self. Meanwhile, people still feel disposable. You can lose that job. The career that you spend years building, whether it's law, engineering, transportation, media, whatever sector you may work in this system, no one person is bigger than the company or the program. So people still feel disposable. And this creates alienation. Have you ever been taught or told to focus on yourself? Hey, just focus on yourself, right? But often people do that and still end up emotionally disconnected. Like they have the money, they can have the life, the dream life that people think will make them happy. And they still feel alone, lonely. But I could definitely understand that because why? Being vulnerable, committing your life to an ideal has unfair consequences in the modern world, guys. Would you agree? It has unfair consequences in the modern world because to a relationship, we can lose ourselves. So yeah, I could speak for me. I can't speak for everyone else, right? But I can say, yeah, that I am afraid of commitment. Mainly because one, I don't want to waste my time. And two, I don't want to face rejection after giving so much of myself, my time and energy that I can't give back. And I think that the environment that we live in plays a major role. So, is it the environment or is it the people? I'm going to ask that question again. Is the environment unhealthy or are the people unhealthy? Right? And I don't want to get too deep, right? But on this broadcast, what I'm talking about is in a world full of connection, why are we so afraid to get close? Um, you could comment on the video if you would like to. I think many people are afraid of getting close because the environment is such a hostile environment. I mean, you have hundreds of young kids who seen their parents divorce, break up, fight. You seen your parents, their parents were not perfect, you know. And if you get old enough, if you become a parent and you live, it's going to be things that you wish that you probably did differently. So it's ironic though that in a world where we're more connected than we ever been, more people are lonely. Think about that for a second. In a world where we are more connected, yet more people feel alone. In a world of Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, um, Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, just apps on apps on apps, Tinder. In the world of instant likes and endless swipes, why does real love feel impossible? Why does commitment feel like a trap instead of connection? And I would say that because years prior, like generations ago, people had to live in the real world. And I think more than ever is like a matrix where you have who you really are, and then you have your um avatar. You have the online presence of yourself that you present to the world, right? And we live in a world now where social media has completely changed how people date, how they meet each other, has created these expectations of what a relationship is supposed to be. And you got to think about this, right? You have young kids, their idea of a relationship is going to be curated by social media, not by their parents, not by mommy and daddy, not by their aunt or uncle or grandparents or the extended community. No, young kids in today's time, their reality of what it means to be a human and an adult comes from social media. And it's so crazy because us as adults, we're wrapped up in this too. Even though we know most of this stuff is not as it should be, we're wrapped in this too. Yet more people feel alone. You have generations of older men that tell younger men don't enter into a serious relationship because if you get married, you can lose your income. Child support laws are unfair. The system is going to bring you through the ringer. You have older women on social media telling younger women, hey, make sure that you get a man who marries you and use the marriage as an insurance in case the inevitable happens and you guys part ways. You have lawyers on social media telling the public what they learned in family court and how disadvantageous it is for men to get married from actual attorneys, guys, right? You have actual attorneys online telling men, hey, if you get married, sign a prenup or postnup, and guess what? A postnuptial agreement, and guess what? You can still lose. So, in a world full of connection, I believe that are afraid to lose. We are afraid to enter into a situation where we give our all to something and then it backfires, right? Um, and it's many different regions. I mean, it's many different reasons why relationships end, right? One of the reasons that relationships end is that love changes over time. Can you agree with that? Can you agree that love, if you're in a relationship, you agree that love changes over time? So it's not just the love that fades, it's connection, effort, and understanding. And two people can be on different levels in the relationship and they're going to need different things. And I really believe if you ever lived with your significant other, that's another part of the relationship. So a person can go from dating, living in separate houses, even maybe cities, having a form of independence still, to now you're living under the same roof with your significant other, and you see the good, the bad, and the ugly. You see them when they had a long day at work. You see them when they're getting ready for work, right? And then the relationships becomes real. It's not just an Instagram pic, right? It's not just a nice photo album picture. And I think this is where older generations had an advantage because they didn't have social media. They had TV, right? Our grandparents had television. They had books, but everyone knew that relationships happen in real time. Now in the modern world, people are podcasting their relationship. Man. So it's not just that love that fades, it's connection, effort, and understanding. And I think one of the big reasons that relationships end is that when we are hit with the reality of what it means to be in a relationship, that's when we seek what we previously had. It's like, oh man, soon as it's like a job, right? If you start a new job and it was things that you disliked about your old job, but you knew the routine, right? Now the job is causing you problems. It's easy to say, you know what? I'm just going to go back to my old job. I'm just going to go back to my old life. And I think that one of the reasons why people fear commitment is that you get so deep in it, you can't go back to your old life. After 4, 5, 6 years, 10 years, 20 years, you're a new person now. You can't go back into your old life. It's going to forever change you, hopefully for the better. So I think that the expectations of what it means to show up in a relationship is definitely maybe blown out of proportion. I mean, on both sides, male, female, or whatever your orientation is as humans, we want our significant other, for the most part, if we go by modern standards, we want this person to be almost perfect. And we all know that perfection doesn't exist. Guys want their woman to be perfect, but perfection doesn't exist. Ladies want their man to be perfect, but perfection doesn't exist. We want someone who is better than us in all of the right ways, but humble enough to make us feel better than them. Like we have a very egotistical view of relationships, right? Where we want the our partner to be a status symbol instead of a human. It's like it's very easy for us to objectify the person that we claim that we care about. And I will also say that number two, I believe that relationships fail overnight. I believe that it's like compounding interest, right? It's like it happens slowly, almost in silence. One person uh begins to count and think about, oh, if I did this, did you do this? Right? And instead of having honest conversations, silence occur because we don't want to hurt the other person's feelings. And silence is the enemy. I really believe it's better to just say the quiet part out loud. And what's even worse, guys, is when love turns to loneliness and couples grow apart. They start sleeping in separate bedrooms. They stop pouring into each other. And then the worst thing ever, guys, they start pouring into other people. They start messaging and calling other people. They start having inside jokes with someone else. And this is where the emotional cheating occurs. But I think one of the reasons that all of this occurs is because perhaps all of us, for the most part, are not given the proper tools in order to nurture something as delicate as a relationship. Maybe we don't have the proper tools in order to nurture a relationship. We don't know how to constructively handle criticism, how to handle our the fact that we have to check ourselves, hold ourselves accountable. And I believe that if a person is going to have a long-term relationship, they have to have understanding. They have to understand the other person and have open communication. Because with good communication, the connection flows, right? And then the relationship thrives. A relationship, and I guess I got to speak to the ladies for a second. When a lot of young women want a wedding day, even in modern times, even in these pessimistic times, women still want to see themselves in a wedding dress. But are you really prepared for what comes after that? Imagine you're with a person, right? And let's say you're in your late 20s, 30s, even your 40s. Are you ready for a lifetime of constant change? Your parents are going to get older. Their parents are going to get older. You're going to witness this person grow up, essentially, over the course of their life. You're going to see them in different phases, different stages. You're going to even see them vulnerable. Men, you're going to see your lady at a vulnerable state. You're going to see her when she's sad, when she feels afraid, and you're going to have to be there. Ladies, you're going to see your guy have to overcome his biggest obstacles, his biggest fears. And I think that perhaps most people are just not ready for such a commitment because we live in the instant gratification. Instead of delayed gratification, we live in just a time of just instant. lose 10 pounds in 1 month, instead of, hey, I lost 10 pounds in 6 months. But guess what? You still lost the 10 pounds. Okay? Or do it as fast as you can, instead of, hey, it may take a little bit longer, but we're going to get this right. Everything is just mental overload, guys. And I think that we have to ask ourselves a key question. And I always ask my friends and even dates that I've been on a key question. Let's go back to the beginning. When does a relationship start? I think that question could solve a lot of problems. When does a relationship start? Are you capable of practicing honesty within the relationship? Can you tell the truth, even if it's going to hurt the other person's feelings? And can you do it in such a way that is still thoughtful and is meant to convey a message of understanding? Or are you going to, is telling the truth only telling the truth when you want to belittle them, put them down, make them feel less than, right? Because some people might say, hey, I'm honest, I tell the truth. Yeah, but it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. And I believe that it is possible to have a fulfilling relationship. But I think that it takes intention. And I think that it's hard work, because you're battling your inner self, your inner person, your feelings, your emotions, even your health, your physical health. But then you and this person is also battling a hostile environment together. The environment is not necessarily on your side. You have hundreds of couples, hundreds of people breaking up every day, posting videos on the internet, people telling them how much they dislike their partner, friends, families. If you listen to that and that seeks into your soul and your spirit, now you're going to start finding flaws in your person. And the thing is, it's easy to identify something that we dislike. It takes a little more of a meditation for us to identify what we can appreciate. What do we like most, right? And so I wanted to bring this conversation to the table, because I see a lot of people experiencing alienation in the modern world, guys. And I think it's very the times that we're living in. So um I'm going to wrap up my video, and I'm going to say that it takes two to make a thing go right, you know? Two people, one heart, a lifetime of change, and not everyone makes it. I wish you the best.